The beginning of FPL is right round the corner and I have a crazy team locked in for game week 1. Disclaimer, I am not an expert, this is just my opinion. Now guys, here is how the video is gonna go. I'm gonna talk to you about my starting 11 and my bench. Obviously, there's gonna be some elephants in the room. I don't have Haaland and I plan on using 3 chips by game week 5, which is a crazy U-turn because I've been planning steady balanced squads ready for the long term all pre-season, and now I've realised that's almost impossible because there's so much uncertainty. But guys, I will talk about it later. Let's begin with the defence. So on the bench, we spent 0.5 extra on a goalkeeper in Kingsley and we have 2 Coventry defenders because we plan on using bench boost in game week 2. Not much to care about there. I'm going to wildcard in game week 5, you could tell by the title. So these guys are only really here for the game week 2 bench boost. In the actual starting 11, we spare no expense. We have Lamans in goal because the first 2 game weeks for Man United are ridiculous. Away to Hull and home to Ipswich. The clean sheet odds are going to be quite high. And then we have 2 Arsenal defenders. And because we don't have Haaland, we can get Gabriel. Now, Konza is going to be joining Arsenal. And I would love to have him in my team. But he probably won't play game week 1. Almost definitely won't play game week 1. So there's no point hanging around to bring him in because in game week 2 they play away to Aston Villa, which isn't even the best fixture as it is. Then in game week 3 I'm using the free hit. Then game week 4 comes around. Yes, it's a good fixture for Arsenal, but I'm going to wildcard in the next game week anyway. So I'd only really have him in for game week 4 and it's not worth mixing up my whole team just to bring him in for one game week when I've got Gabriel and Calafiori who have much more point potential than Konza anyway. I believe Gabriel is quite fairly priced. A lot of people are saying he's too expensive, and to be fair, if Konza wasn't joining Arsenal, then Mosquera plus Calafiori would be much better value because you're getting 2 Arsenal defenders for the price of 3 million of your actual budget because the cheapest defender is 4 million and you're paying 5.5 million for 2 defenders. It equates to 3 million of your actual budget for 2 Arsenal clean sheets, whereas Gabriel is 4 million of your actual budget for 1 Arsenal clean sheet. It's not really worth it. So if I wasn't playing super aggressive, I probably wouldn't have Gabriel, despite how much of a fan I am of his. Then we have Reece James. Now the biggest challenge here from game week 1 to 4 before I use my wildcard is Reece James not getting injured. That is the most difficult part of this whole thing. And with a bench boost plan in game week 2, the biggest risk is that you could get an injury. And I'm sat here with Reece James just worsening that risk. But I prefer him over Palestra for the same price of 5.5 million. Sure, Palestra does play a little more advanced, yes, I know that. But Reece James has free kicks and corners. He's very good at taking them, and he had 0.2 XGI per 90 last season. I know he didn't play a lot, but for a defender, 0.2 XGI per 90 is very high, and I can't rely on Palestra pulling off the same numbers. Then in midfield, we have Bruno Fernandes, and obviously Mbermo accompanies him there. Like I said, the Man United only fixture run is amazing. The issue is with triple Manchester United is that I will have them all for game week 4 where they play home to Man City. Now, this could be an issue, but it could also be fine. I don't think anyone really knows how well City are going to do, but if they don't look that strong, I can just play all 3 of my United players for game week 4. If it's looking a bit iffy, maybe I could start Kingsley over Lamans, maybe I could sell Mbermo. I should, in theory, have 2 free transfers in game week 4 if everything goes to plan, so this should be okay. I should be able to mitigate the damage. And I need to talk about Cole Palmer urgently because not too long ago, I made a video of overrated players in FPL and Palmer was in it. I claimed he was overrated because he was too overpriced. And to be honest, I still stand by that. So you've got to hear me out and let me explain why I chose him, right? Game week 1 to 4, if you exclude game week 3, Chelsea along with Man United have the best run of 3 games. Away to Fulham, then home to Brighton, then home to Hull. Palmer, one of the main reasons I chose him is because I want him to be a captaincy option for me in game week 4 because Haaland won't be in my team, got a bad fixture anyway, and Bruno will be in my team, but he has a bad fixture. And I have loads of money to spend, so I thought I may as well get Cole Palmer. His preseason wasn't great, but there's a lot of potential there and his ceiling is ridiculously high. I can't count how many times the guy has scored a hat-trick out of nowhere. So yeah, in general, I don't think he's worth it, but with my chip strategy and my team and how I want to play aggressive, Palmer is kind of the perfect fit. Then we finish off the team with Solis. I didn't Google how to pronounce his name, so I apologise if I've offended anyone, but that's how I'm reading it, that's how I think it sounds. 6.5 million for a nailed Arsenal attacker is very good, especially when they play home to Coventry in game week 1. Now I know the next few game weeks they're not great. You know, you have away to Villa, then in game week 4, you have away to Sunderland, not counting game week 3 because I will free hit. The fixtures aren't amazing, but let's be honest guys, Arsenal are going to walk this league. It's out of question. If anyone thinks they can challenge Arsenal, I think they're being quite unrealistic. Then we have Grimes on the bench for game week 2 bench boost. He takes corners and, you know, can get def cons. He's not very good at it, but it's possible. We go into the front three after this, and in the place of Haaland, we have Alexander Isak. He, in general, isn't going to be an amazing FPL asset in my opinion, but the fixtures are good. After away to Newcastle, which isn't that tough nowadays anyway, he's home to Forest, then in game week 4, he's home to Fulham. Alongside him, we have the basic two forwards, João Pedro and Dominic Calvert-Lewin. They are both incredibly underpriced, very good value players. João Pedro obviously fits into this free hit game week 3 strategy because he plays for Chelsea. They have a good fixture on aside from game week 3, but they don't need to worry about game week 3. Dominic Calvert-Lewin, it kind of works for him. Away to Brighton is not a good fixture for an attacker. It's not one where you'd necessarily need to free hit him out. There's no way I would target using a free hit just because one of my players is playing away to Brighton, but he can definitely benefit from me using the free hit because it's not a great game for him. So yeah, this team is very unorthodox, and I don't always go super unorthodox. I mean, I like to do my own thing. I have a few differentials here and there, but this one, yeah, it's very risky. Obviously, there's no Haaland. I've chosen Cole Palmer, 3 Chelsea players. They have a new manager. How well are they going to play? We don't know. I've gone with triple Arsenal and triple Man U. I'm tripling up on all these teams because with this strategy, I'm playing aggressive. And the aim is to get a big early head start. If I come game week 4, you know, the end of it, and I'm sat at an average rank, it's not going to be good for me. It means I've not wasted my chips, but I've played them poorly. And one of the main reasons I'm going with this strategy, like I said earlier, is because it's so hard to choose a balanced team. I don't know if you guys can do it. If you can, fair play to you. But I was sat there tinkering for ages, you know, across pre-season, and I just couldn't find anything that really, you know, sat well with me. There was always something that made me feel a bit meh about the team. And with this, there's a lot of players which make me worry. But I know the ceiling is very high, and because I'm using an early wildcard, I think it's worth it. So what has possessed the imbecile known as FPLbodders to go without Haaland in game week 1? Well, it's no surprise for you to hear me say that Haaland at 15.5 million is bad value if he's not going to be your captain on a regular basis. I've said it in preseason before, but if he sits in my team and isn't my captain, even if he bags 13 points, he's still bad value in my team. And if I do this strategy, free hit game week 3, which I'm a huge fan of, I'm not going to captain Haaland in game week 1, 2, or 4. And if I'm already going to free hit in game week 3, well, there's no point in him being in my team just for game week 3, you know? So essentially, he'd be in my team wasting value until game week 5. So I thought, why not just cut the middleman, right? This whole strategy sort of revolves around Haaland. I'm going to captain Bruno in game week 1 and 2. I'm going to free hit Haaland then to be my captain in game week 3. Then I can captain one of my Chelsea players in game week 4. It's perfect. I don't need Haaland. He would just be a hindrance. Then in game week 5, when the fixture run, you know, gets good, he has good captaincy rotation with Bruno, and I can actually captain this player who's costing me 15.5 million. He can actually be good value in my team instead of me just sort of wasting money for the first 4 game weeks. And the benefits are generally I'd have a stronger squad. I can bring Haaland back in game week 5. And Man City looked far off it in the Community Shield. Normally, they give Arsenal a good game. They're normally better than Arsenal, to be honest. They just edge it past them each time or they get a draw. The issue is, this is very risky, and Haaland is no stranger to scoring 60 points in the first opening 6 game weeks. He's done it 3 out of 4 seasons in FPL, but this time he does not have Pep Guardiola, which is why I'm reluctant to go there and why I'm reluctant to captain him in game week 1 in the first place. So Haaland is not going to be in my team for game week 1. Last season, everybody went with Salah and I went with Haaland. It ended up being the right move. This time, everyone's going with Haaland and I'm going without Haaland. Maybe I just like being different. I've already talked a bit about this, but the aggressive chip strategy is here. I'm just too uncertain on players I think are good long-term picks. I normally like picking a strong team so I don't have to use my wildcard until game week 18, game week 19, and I can just save 5 free transfers, you know, in the first 4 or 5 game weeks. But this time I don't feel confident in that strategy, so I'm going the complete opposite way. It is going to hopefully give me an early head start. Once again, I can easily bring Haaland in for game week 5 with my wildcard. And this way I don't just have to rely on pre-season to give me an indication as to who the good long-term picks are. I can see 4 game weeks in the Premier League. I can wait a month and then I can decide who I think are the best meta template FPL picks. The main issue with this, I am forcing myself into an early wildcard, and my bench boost in game week 2 isn't that great. But then again, I'm only spending 1 million on my bench extra to actually get the bench boost. And I'm only going to be sacrificing 1 million from my starting 11 just for those 4 game weeks until I use my wildcard. So it's not really the end of the world. On the whole, I think this strategy is definitely risky, but for me, I think it's the best way to go. Now, we're going to spend our time looking at future game weeks. I'm using Plan FPL from the Fantasy Football Scout. There's a link in the description if you guys want to try this out for yourselves. It's a really useful team planner. At least I find it quite useful. We're going to look to game week 2. We know what game week 1 is like. We've just spent ages talking about it. In game week 2, my 3 Arsenal players play away to Aston Villa. It's not great, but Aston Villa have lost a lot of key players and they've not really brought many great replacements. They've brought replacements, but they're not necessarily anywhere near as good as the players who used to be there. So I'm not really scared of this fixture. I don't have a lot of hopes for it at the same time. You know, I could just not play my bench boost and start all my Coventry players over all my Arsenal players. But what if all my Arsenal players get points? It's a very genuine possibility. And the same vice versa. All my Coventry players could get points. So why not just make the best of both worlds, click the bench boost button and wait for all of them to blank? Because let's be honest, that's probably what's going to happen. I don't think I've ever had a good bench boost in my life. It's just not something I'm good at. So maybe now I'm playing the game a little bit differently and I'm actually targeting a bench boost. Maybe I can get some points from it. Game week 3 is just game week 3. It's a free hit button. I'm not even going to think about my free hit team right now. There's genuinely no point, but my actual team does not matter. Yeah, everybody's got a bad fixture. Do I care? No, it's not my problem. Game week 4 comes around and the triple up on Chelsea will pay its dividends. If it doesn't, I will be shocked. I mean, Hull are genuinely awful. They were second last for expected goals conceded in the Championship, guys. Imagine how they'll do in the Premier League. I have absolutely no idea how they got promoted or how they even got to the top 6 in the first place. It is an absolute miracle. I believe they could break the record for the lowest point tally in Premier League history, but only time will tell. I'm very happy to have 3 players playing against this team. Obviously, we have triple Man United home to Man City, which isn't great, but Bruno can still have a good game. And like I said, Lamans and Mbermo, they could be sold or rotated just before my wildcard, but I'd ideally keep them there. I want to go into my game week 5 wildcard team with some free transfers still to play with in case I get injuries or want to target some fixture runs aggressively, like I'm doing for the first 4 game weeks. Arsenal away to Sunderland on paper isn't sensational, but for the defence it's really good. Sunderland were 18th for expected goals last season. They were terrible. That's not good. They were only better than Wolves and Burnley. So I expect an Arsenal clean sheet. Yeah, I expect it. I'm not hopeful for it. I expect Gabriel and Calafiori to get me some points in this fixture. Then obviously we got Isak and Dominic Calvert-Lewin. I've not really been talking about those two that much because they're not part of the triple ups I'm going with. They're just sort of hanging around because they've got decent fixtures and they're good players. I'm happy to keep them in my team until game week 4. They're not exactly amazing, but I do believe they're the best options I have available with the money I had to spend on these 2 in the front 3. But yeah, anyway guys, that's it. That's from me. That's my game week 1 team selection. I'd say I'm 95% locked in. I'm going to make a post on YouTube and on X before the deadline, posting my final team. So if there are any changes and you guys are interested, you can check it out on there. But I think I'm happy with what I'm looking at right now. If you made it this far, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you all in the next video.